Alrighty, time to do the usual. Let's see if this thing's working. As always, I genuinely don't know. And looking at it, my shirt actually has some see-throughness to it. So I'm like a ghost. Cool beans. Cool stuff. Let's see. Looking at it, my shirt actually has some... My audio is coming in. Excellent news. Excellent. Okay. Checking. I think everything is Gucci. Okay. Always bad at this streaming gig, but I'm getting better. All it takes to learn how to ride a bike is to fall off that bike, a few dozen times. Eventually you pull yourself up, or you kick the bike and just drive a car like a regular person. Streaming is kind of the same way. You either stick with it and get better at it, or you just kind of just drop it. Looking great. Upper plus, you're looking great. You are looking great. How about that? Thank you. Okay. And as a friendly reminder for those of you that don't know, I am poor and only have one monitor. I'm not looking at multiple monitors. And unfortunately, it sucks having to move things around on this one monitor. Dude, you always stream when it's bedtime for me? I'm streaming 3 o'clock my time, so, this is, in order to stream for not bedtime that'd have to be like for me at like midday, 12-ish. Which I certainly could pull off, depending on the day. It wouldn't be impossible for me. Especially, I think in the coming weeks, I think my schedule is going to be opening up a bit more in some regards, so that certainly can be a possibility. But alternatively, on the flip side, during the weekday, I can't imagine, I'd be getting any American viewers if I streamed at, 12, 1, because, majority of people would still be at work or whatever. Yo, Conrad, what up? What up? I'm blocking the red head. It's like I'm the redheaded T-mod up in here. Just realized. Gotta work, but I'll be creeping. Hey, guess what? We appreciate lurkers around here, okay? 24-hour stream is the solution. I mean, yeah, easy. I'll just not sleep, barely eat, barely drink. Easy. Easy. Gotta finish my dungeon for Big Indestructible Bash tonight. Yeah, unfortunately, I missed the deadline on showing up to that one. Unfortunate. You have a dragon aura about you? Heck yeah. When I played Elden Ring, I did a dragon build, and I felt that was very it just felt so good to me. I know very few people actually use the dragon magics in Elden Ring, because I don't think they're probably statistically as good as the other options, but I love that dragon magic. And I love how it makes your eyes turn into dragons. Dragon's eyes. I think it's pretty baller. Okay. Wish you a good stream, though. Good night. Good night, Upper Plus. I'll try and stream at a time that's available for you. Am I taking questions? Yes, I am. Fire away. Fire away. I should probably put up some sort of thing of... let me see if I can... Nope, I don't want that. And that text comes in ugly as sin, though. Did you see that? It's like a Discord link. But that comes in ugly. Let me see if I can fix that. Text. Live Q&A. Select font. Oh my god, I can change a whole bunch of things. What's a good font these days? I don't even know. I'm in the G section. Gothic. I'm gonna go Gothic. Do they have Gothic on this thing? Gigo. They don't have Gothic. Ugh. It sucks. I'm clicking these like. I'm clicking these things of like, oh, what's it? What's the size and all that fun jazz? But I'll just click on Eris Demi ITC. Yeah, sure. Effects. What the strikeout, underline, writing system? Writing system? What? Oh, it's language. I see. I understand. Text to transform, enable anti-aliasing. Anti-aliasing? You can be so fancy with text on OBS. That's actually incredible. Text to transform. No. Color. Yeah, let's color it up here. Let's go with that and a gradient. Let's go with that. No, I don't want a gradient. Can I do an outline? I was about to say. There's no way you can't do an outline. Oh, the outline makes it ugly as sin. What's going on here? Okay. Nope, that's ugly. Okay, as a DM, when player travel to other strange planes to adventure that are not similar to the prime material, strange non-Euclidean physics, how do you describe and how does the party interact? So one thing I would say is I would leave as much to the imagination as physically possible, because the more you describe something, the less magical it becomes, the less strange it is, the less magical it is. So one thing I'd say is like, well, one thing that I always say when I'm running one of my one-shots is when my players go into this like weird, strange Fey realm is I say that there is an inverted horizon. And I don't elaborate any further on saying that there's an inverted horizon. What does that mean? What does that look like? I mean, I've got an idea of what it looks like, but if I don't describe it to my players, then they might come up with some like weird things and it gets their brains thinking. So what I would strongly suggest is you throw out these like simple weird things of, like you're in this weird plane of, you're in a plane where, I don't know, let's say that when you're swimming in the water and you breach the surface, then gravity is shifting up, or gravity is negative as soon as you breach the water. and like just throw out these like random weird things, and specifically tailored to whatever area that you're in, and really get them thinking, get them saying things out loud, because that's a lot more engaging than telling them exactly how every single thing works and going into immense detail about, okay, so in this world, gravity is actually zero point 0.8 compared to the world that you're from, and the light, shines this way. Instead, you can instead say like, as soon as you reach into this plane, translucent lights shimmer about the world. Like just to throw out some weird, wacky stuff and have a good time with it. And also, I need a... Oh, God. I made it extra big, didn't it? Is there a way I can squish this? Do you create islands or oases of firm ground for them? Also, during battle, what if distances keep changing? Would you still put out minis for the battle? And entirely depends on the players that I'm running for, the game system that I'm running. So, for example, I'll tackle the battle thing first. When it comes to battles where movement is happening sporadically, depending on the system, depending on the players, absolutely, I will have the minis in play, and you are hard tailored into moving, with those things. The monsters are moving, you're moving, and we're keeping everything down to the minute little detail of, oh, that enemy was 50 feet away, now it's 100 feet away. Your spell can affect 80 feet distance, things like that. And for some games I run, some systems that I run, some players that I run for, we kind of just obfuscate that stuff. I say, oh, it's kind of far. You could make it. And once again, it's very hard to tailor down exactly the best sort of playstyle for players. Like, they're going to figure out, do they care about that minute little detail of it's exactly 127 feet away? Or are your players going to be like, oh, can I move and hit that thing? It's like, okay, yeah, you can or you can't. Just say it out loud. Don't need minis if you're moving around a bit too much and being a little crazy with it. Now, in regards of, do you create islands or oases of firm ground for them? I would want a little bit more elaboration on that. Do you mean something like oases or islands of adventure, or are you talking about like physical, like, there are these these islands? Or I'd want a bit more clarity on that one, a bit more info dump on that. Also, I feel like I can totally fix this live Q&A thing. Let's take a look. What do I want? I probably want the outline to be bigger. Let's go with a thicker outline. Yeah, now it pops. How do you find players who don't like to have fun? It's quite simple. I run a game. I say, hey, come over. I throw them in the basement. I strap them in, and then they're stuck there forever and all the time. Simple as that. No, but the thing about that is, in regards of my playstyle, is I mentioned this in the video that came out a week ago, but I've ran for hundreds of people, and sometimes people walk away from that session and say, oh man, that was awesome, I can't wait to play again. And sometimes people walk away saying, man, that guy sucked, the game's terrible, is what it is. So it's just all about just running the numbers, just running for enough players, and eventually getting the players that want to play with you. Simple as that. I know a lot of people are stuck in the idea of you can only run for your friend group that you've been running or you've been playing with and been friends with for this many number of years. But if you get stuck into that mentality, then you're never going to be able to do anything else. You do need to branch out a bit. I think it's very healthy to play with other players, go play different types of games, be experimental with your play style, and find out what's right for you. Like in the plane of air or water, give them solid footing. Yeah, okay. Now I see. So if you, if they go to the plane of water, then I would say there'd be underwater islands. I would say it's just all water, everything, and like maybe in the world that there's water. In the plane of air, yeah, there'd be like some floating kingdoms. In the plane of fire, there would be some fiery citadels in the et cetera, et cetera. Absolutely, give them some air quotes solid footing, but have it tied to the elemental place that they're in. Absolutely. Hey man, hope you're doing good. Got a question for you. Well, I got an answer for you, Ryan. How's it going? I've got an answer for you. Unless it's a very dubious question, then maybe not. Entirely depends on you. What's your advice on note-taking prepping as a DM? More specifically, when you read a module or prep a given area encounter. What do you prioritize keeping on shorthand notice to keep game RP pace? So, Vince, something very important about this is before the start of that session, hopefully beforehand, by a number of days, you ask your players, hey, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And you're at this point in the adventure where your players can take a left, right, or straight down a path. This could be proverbial or it could be a literal, like in a dungeon, let's say. You say, you ask your players this, and the players say, you know what? We're going to go left. So, boom. Instead of having to prep, vaguely 3 different directions, you instead prep for the left. You write down the important bits in regards of, okay, if they go there, then I'm going to have to be dealing with these kinds of rooms. I'm going to be dealing with these kinds of monsters. I'm going to be dealing with this NPC. Monsters, quick go-to. A very easy one to come over is just say, hey, how would this monster interact with the players in this scenario? Does it just run up and try and claw and bite? Or does it use some sort of tactics? Does it cling to the wall and shoot down? Does it run away after X time? Just quickly glance over that. Or, quickly formulate your idea on that. In regards to the area, think about, okay, my players could be interacting with this area in any number of ways, but leave that up to the imagination of your players. Your players are going to, do whatever, and you're just going to have to think of how to respond to their queries on the fly. And then in regards to the NPCs, consider the NPCs' motivations. What are the NPCs trying to do? Are they trying to befriend the party? Are they trying to persuade the party? Are they trying to deceive the party? Are they at first hostile but then can be friendly? Are they friendly but then can be turned hostile? Think about their motivations and dial in on what those motivations are and present those motivations to the players. If the NPC walks up to the party and says, oh, hey, it's great you're here, I need your help with this, then your players know that what their intentions are, right? Or they could be a dubious NPC and say, hey, I need your help with this, but in reality they're trying to, deceive the party. Just keep those motivations in mind, and that's pretty much all the prep you need. The overarching thing, as a recap, figure out what the players want to do. Then in regards of people, places, and things, places, just figure out, okay, my players can interact with this in any number of ways. Just deal with it when the time comes. Monsters, figure out how monsters are going to fight. NPCs, what are their motivations? Simple as that. Ryan, I'm currently running TOA, and my players unfortunately got teleported somewhere. I'm not going to say these things out loud, just in case there's any spoilers in the chat here. They found a teleportation scroll. I did it in the moment. It was such a huge betrayal, an oh shit moment. But now I'm kind of stuck. The party basically skipped chapter 3. How do I go on introducing the cubes? And the CR, the monsters, etc. What would you do? I think skipping chapters is fine. I think something very important is your players at some point are going to have to come back to that location to complete the overarching quest of the main campaign, right? You don't need to cover every little single detail. Your players are going to have to figure that out on their own. Your players will come back to the city, and then the idea of, oh, we need to get these cubes is going to be in their brains. It's going to happen at some point. Just let it happen. Your players, got a big old W right then and there, but now they're going to have to come back and claw their way to victory once again. It's going to be cool. So I wouldn't do much with it. Your players will come back, and you're going to have a great time with it. They're going to have a great time with it. I'm going to be running I'm going to be running a daughter now. I'm going to be running a game for my daughter and her husband who have played before. They have a couple that would like to try D&D. I've played board games with said couple. They get bored easy. Oof. I'm scared of wasting my time because I go overboard with my games. Lots of terrain, fog machines, etc., music, and soundboard. One thing I'd recommend is, keep it short, simple, sweet, and epic. Don't have them going on an epic adventure of saving the world. I would simply just run a single one-shot for them where they go into the basement of the tavern, and when they go into the basement, then, they get into a boogie dance battle with a lich or something, right? Just make it very, very quick, memorable, weird, wacky, and entertaining. And, if they are down for that cause, then so be it. But if they get bored of it, hey, then they can dip after that session and say that you can say that you don't have to run for them anymore. Simple as that. Tiamat, damn, that would be crazy if lawful characters set her free. That would be crazy, wouldn't it, Poem? That would be crazy if a whole bunch of good people just decided to work alongside someone that was straight up from day one saying, hey, I'm going to free Tiamat, and decided to free Tiamat. That would be so weird, wouldn't it? Thanks a lot. No problem, Ryan. No problem at all. Want to say thanks. Your Icewind Dale videos helped when I ran my group through it. No problem, Jay. Icewind Dale has a special place in my heart because I like the setting, I like the theme, I like the area, I like a bunch of things about it, but I don't think all of the adventure comes together fluidly as per written, and I know in the zeitgeist of all of the 5e modules, I know Icewind Dale ranks low, which is unfortunate, but I think Icewind Dale with just a little bit of fixing, fine-tuning can be an excellent adventure, and you can have a great time with it. Definitely sounds like a plan. Short and sweet. Yeah, absolutely. I think one-shots are just easily the go-to things on what to do for new players. You don't want to... I know a lot of people get in the idea of like, oh man, I'm going to run a campaign. And it's like all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm going to drop down this campaign. And, oh, by the way, you have to show up here once a week for the next, 2 years. Not everyone's ready for that level of commitment. That's a pretty big commitment not everyone's ready for. That same character is the only reason they were able to redeem Zariel. Oh, man. Good old Descent into Avernus. What a delight. What a delight. Let's see here. Alrighty. I did purchase my last D&D official book, the recent Vecna book. Only looked through it a bit. Have you looked at it yourself? I tend to buy third-party content now. So I'm going to be making a video on the Vecna module adventure. What I will say is I think it suffers from being too much for nerds. I'm going to be making a video about this, but I think the Vecna adventure unfortunately suffers from, yeah, you can run it like for new-ish players to the game, but you need to be a really big nerd in order to appreciate that adventure. And I think the number of actual hardcore nerds that would get all the appreciation out of the adventure are pretty small pickings. Do you think we will ever get together again to play D&D? Pwn, once again, I think there's an unfortunate issue where everyone's schedules in our little group here are in a tizzy. I'm going to be running some public games, and I'm going to... And then, Pwn, as I've said many times before, I am going to be running a game for you. Just for you. So, it's just unfortunate. I think a lot of things have kept on creeping up in the recent times. And also, for some strange reason, our game time has just been really awkward. And like, I just don't understand it, like how so many things keep popping up on Sunday morning. It's so weird. Overboard, I would suggest not overloading new players' mechanics. Just ask them, what would you like to do? And work out the roles. Yeah. Absolutely. The more you don't want new players craning their neck, looking down at their character sheet. You want your new players looking up at the other players and looking up at you as much as possible. Alrighty, so here, right in front of your eyeballs and my eyeballs, you're looking at an adventure I'm writing out. It is called Slay the Beast. This adventure is all about you playing the mob in Beauty and the Beast. My idea behind this adventure is that instead of it being all about a woman getting trapped and falling in love with a guy because she gives him a library, instead of going down that route, the route instead is you are in this town, and all of a sudden someone comes back and says, oh, hey, it's crazy how no one knew about this, but there's a castle like right outside the town, and apparently there's a whole bunch of people and things going down in that castle, and you, being the adventurers, go into said castle and fight all of the terrible monstrosities and peoples and things going on in that castle, ransacking it all the while. And of course, instead of the beast being a delightful individual who is just a misunderstood, rich prince who threw away some old woman, instead the beast is a beast. Simple as that. So I've already gotten a decent amount written up for this thing. I've got the idea behind the backstory. I've got an idea about how, over the course of the game, the beast will eventually get angrier and angrier. And as the beast gets angrier, the castle and the grounds will be affected by it. I've got an idea about the extreme climate of this place. Instead of this being a pristine castle, whenever you show up, depending on the season, it'll be very muggy and hot summer, it'll be a terrible blizzardy winter, it'll be a stormy fall, it'll be or a windy fall, I should say. It'll be a rainy spring, things like that. Actually, my character wouldn't go into the castle. His background made him never trust castles. He's also against adventures and would rather die than go on one. Excellent character to show up to a table with. The castle is inhabited by magical paintings, magical mirrors. A new magical item will come in the form of magical wigs. Over the course of the adventure, there will be magical wigs and hats and various pristine, posh clothing that will inevitably deck all the characters. So inevitably over the course of the gameplay, all of the characters will be looking like posh noblemen, which will be pretty funny. I want to incorporate black powder weapons. I want to incorporate morale, henchmen, random encounters along the way. And one of the big ones is the hometown, the town of Bellefleur, because it's got a little bit of a French theme going on. So I want to really stock up the town with a whole bunch of NPCs everyone will love, a whole bunch of areas your players can interact with, and just have this place be a home, because this castle will be a mega dungeon. As your players are traversing through this castle, they're not going to do it all in one go. It's just not possible. So they go to the castle, they return back to town, interact with all the NPCs, drop off their gold, and so on and so forth, rinse and repeat. So, taking a quick glance here, I just want to figure out how many areas of the town I actually have fleshed out here. I've got an antiques shop, apothecary, a bakery, a bank, a barber, a blacksmith, a bookstore, a butcher, a candle maker, a clothier, an etiquette school, and this is another aspect of the town that I want to show off as well. Is I want this town to evolve over the course of the game. So what's going to happen is you go to, like in the beginning, the town is what it is. You go on to that castle. You come back after looting it, and after dropping all your gold, then all of the townspeople are going to be abuzz. Because imagine if you're in this fixed economy town where you're all of a sudden, like, adventurers are dropping off gold and riches and, jewelries and a whole bunch of stuff. What's going to end up happening is people are going to start flooding to this town. New merchants are going to be showing up. Adventurers are going to be showing up. The town is going to evolve. And so over the course of the gameplay, I want there to not just be the emphasis on, like, people showing up to this town. I want places of business to evolve over the course of this area. And one of the first ones I thought up here is the etiquette school. So my idea is in the castle, there will be certain either, scenarios or places or things going on where knowing noble etiquette will give you some sort of advantage, or it'll unlock new areas of the dungeon. And so one of my ideas is once X number of gold is retrieved, then an etiquette school will pop up. This woman named Gretilda Boravive will show up, and she will run an etiquette school. And you can pay to go to etiquette school and get your hands slapped when you're moving the fork and the knife in the wrong area and stuff. And I've got a few more ideas along that as well. Awesome, this sounds like a Warhammer Fantasy roleplay castle. Right on. Sounds like a cool and original setting. It is definitely not original at all whatsoever. It's definitely a riff on Beauty and the Beast, but I want to make it a unique riff on Beauty and the Beast. You need a rat catcher. Man, those Warhammer classes are wild. You can just be a peasant, or you can be a dwarven slayer. Like the amount of variation in regards of what you can be in Warhammer is crazy. So we got the etiquette school, we've got a farmhouse, a fishery, a Fletcher, a fountain. I want to do something with a fountain, maybe something in regards of, like, if you drop a coin in the fountain, maybe it gives you some sort of bonus on a check or something. I'll write that down, actually. There's a depiction of a whole kingly knight. Oh, you know what it is placing sword in fountain confers a +1 bonus to its next swing. So maybe your players don't know this natively, but maybe over the course of time, or maybe some rumor or something, your players hear, if you put your sword in that knight's fountain there, you actually get a little bonus, and gives you a cool little, +1 on the very next swing you do. I think that's pretty cute. a guard house, a guild house. So the guild house is another thing that evolves over the course of time. Eventually, once enough gold is brought up, a whole bunch of people are going to be like, oh, hey, let's go. And then they're going to be your henchmen, your hirelings, your followers, your retainers. An herbalist, home appliances, because maybe your players are going to buy their own house, which I strongly suggest players do over the course of a Mega Dungeon campaign, is they get their own place to live instead of just always crashing at the tavern or the inn. Hunter's Lodge, inn, inventor, jeweler, market, mayor's house, a mirror maker. I want a mirror maker over the course of the game because that's going to lend into the magic mirror aspect of the dungeon. An occult shop, once again, maybe adding some sort of magical items for sale or a better way to get some info on magical items found in the dungeon. A pond, a rifle house, because eventually I want players to evolve from going from stupid little bows to having guns, because I think that fits more the French aesthetic. The schoolhouse, the stable, the tavern, the trader, the wig shop, another great thing, once again, right from the start. Alrighty, I know you did some videos on adventure modules of 5e, but what are your top 3 adventures apart from TOA? I know you like it a lot. That's how you convinced me to run it. Okay, so I think TOA is hands down easily number 1. That's the end of story. But what else? What goes into what goes into the Mount Rushmore of TOA or 5e modules? Let me take a physical look at all of my adventure modules here. Alrighty, I have concluded after staring at them. It's funny how I can look at a book and just imagine just hundreds of hours just pouring into my brain. So my Mount Rushmore of 5e modules is, of course, number 1, TOA. But you're asking about the other 3. The other 3 faces alongside TOA are going to include the following. Curse of Strahd. I think Curse of Strahd has a fun narrative. It's got exploration roleplay and combats galore. It's got a enticing enough area. It's got a compelling villain. It's got a whole bunch of great things you love. It's great. Number 2, as I hold up 3 fingers here. Number 2 is good old-fashioned Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Waterdeep Dragon Heist presents a unique scenario where more often than not, adventures are all about adventuring out into the world. But I think city adventures present a fantastic scenario in that you get to deal with the same NPCs regularly, and it makes sense. It's fluid. It runs perfectly. You get to deal with factions and guilds and a whole bunch of things. And playing in a city just creates a whole bunch of fun scenarios to thrust upon your players without being contrived. When you're running an adventure and your players go out to the middle of the wilderness, it's just, you always have to shoehorn in these people catch up to you, or these people beat you here on time. But when you're in a city, you don't have to worry about that because you could be walking down the street and actually bump into that dude that you had beef with the other day, right? Makes sense. And lastly, number 3, as I hold up 4 fingers here, is the Wild Beyond the Witchlight. I think the Wild Beyond the Witchlight serves a very fun narrative focus of going to this location, dealing with all the weird denizens in this Fey location, but also very importantly is it lends itself into 5e's mechanics. There are a bunch of 5e modules that do not work alongside 5e's mechanics. There are some that either contrast or just go parallel. They don't work together. But the Wildbound the Witchlight is one of the few modules where I feel like the developers were like, oh yeah, this actually fits into 5e's mechanics. So that is my list there of Curse of Strahd, Waterdeep Dragon Heist, Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Boom. Alrighty. So let's take a look here. Oh, really? Wasn't expecting Wild Beyond the Witchlight list. Good to know. I will tell you, Wild Beyond the Witchlight is definitely not everyone's cup of tea, though. Some people want to be murder hobos, and Wild Beyond the Witchlight is not murder hobo-y. Hello, good to see you again. Good to see you, or good to read you, Andrew. How is it going? Alrighty, so in addition to all of these various locations that I've listed there, some other locations I'd probably want to throw up here are going to be a town hall, a jewelry store, a theater, an art gallery, an animal shelter, a mage's tower, a temple, a park or garden, a boarding house, a underground hideout of some repute. Maybe some thieves guilds come in eventually at some point. A library or archive. I've already got a library, so are probably going to do more of like an archive-y sort of library, not a fun library. A training grounds of some repute, and an alchemist workshop. So I've got a lot listed there in regards of fleshing out this town. I'm going to have to go through systematically and write down all the names of all the people in here. I'll be doing that maybe momentarily. So that'll be going to the people of town. I'm going to have areas outside of the town and castle that, because I'm going to, when I write this adventure, I don't want it to just be you only live in this town and you only live in this castle and there's no, like, nothing else. I definitely want to write some other things to be doing outside and around the area of this world, but I'll figure that out later. In regards to town events, I want to make this town feel alive. I want it to be where, you know, your players feel like this town is lived in. I want it to be where your players are contributing to the success of this town because they're bringing back gold to flush this town with gold, and I want the town to feel like it's not only receptive of the players, but also of just themselves because, you know, this is a town. Eventually they're going to have some sort of festivals. They're going to have, you know, some quirky, fun events like a great bake-off or a ball or a beauty pageant. I want these things in here because I want it to feel like time matters in this game. You know, you start off this campaign at day 1, on day number, 57. Oh, hey, the carnival shows up in town. Well, let's go check that out, right? I want time to be a important factor in the game because I feel like it should be an important factor in your games. When you track time, the game feels more real. It feels more alive. In addition to traversing about this castle that's filled with monsters and objects that have sprung to life, or an execution, exactly. It could be an execution there. In addition to going to this castle, dealing with all the denizens therein, an idea propped up in my mind. The idea being, over the course of adventuring into this castle, you eventually can find therein invitations to the castle. Now, what the heck does that mean, right? You're already ransacking this castle. You're killing the monsters therein. You're, stealing the gold candlesticks off the tables. What do we need an invitation for? These invitations are a game mechanic where you take the invitation, you return back to town, but when you go back to the castle, if you present this invitation before you make your way to the castle grounds, instead of returning to the castle you know in present day, you instead return back to a past version of the castle. And this allows you to explore the castle in a non-combat way. It allows you to see the castle how it once was. So this serves two narrative purposes. One, it serves the narrative purpose of interacting with denizens of the castle, like maybe that boss that you had to run away from last time. You get to interact with them in a sort of like a vision or an illusion kind of way. And two, this allows you to explore the castle in a way where you're not having to, keep your breath up. But at the same time, you can't explore the castle fully when you use these invitations. You have to go to that specific event. Like, you pick up the invitation where you go to the masquerade ball. You show up to that masquerade ball, and you get to interact with the denizens that you don't normally get to interact with. Maybe you learn some information or news or some secret that you can use when you go back to the castle in regular time. So I think that'll be a fun, excellent way to, provide more clarity and a whole bunch of fun jazz into this adventure. My ideas behind the invitations are there are specific invitations located in various places throughout the dungeon, and maybe as well attached to monsters that are like random encounters. Maybe you have a 1 in 20 chance of finding an invitation off a humanoid monster when you slay them, something like that. So I've got that listed up there. Areas of the castle, I am going to be fleshing out the bejesus of this castle. I've written down the names of a bunch of things going on here. It's going to be quite a lot, but I'm going to be looking forward to it. Look at that, just so many different things, so many different places to explore. I want this castle to feel like an actual castle. The castle layout, I've got an idea of 3 large wings, multiple towers, balconies, basements, and dungeons. And also, very importantly, is it's not just the castle you're ransacking. You're also ransacking the castle grounds itself. On the castle grounds itself, there are large gardens, and there's these stables and a whole bunch of things like that. So you don't have to just dive right through the front door. There's a number of ways to get inside of the castle, and there's also, very importantly, is on the castle grounds itself. There's a whole bunch of fun jazz to be had there. Whole bunch of random encounters. I'm thinking about all the monsters found therein in this world. Wolves, spiders, animated objects are going to be one of the bigger foes you fight along in this adventure. The servants. There's going to be in addition to the animated objects, there's also going to be a heavy emphasis on plants in this adventure. There's going to be a whole bunch of monsters that are running on plant life, etc. Gargoyles, beast folk, slimes, wax figures, undead, the whole shebang. And here we have mini bosses. So basically these are the clientele of the place. We've got, instead of Cogsworth, we've got Clocksworth. Instead of Lumiere, we have Candle Brava. Instead of Mrs. Potts, we got Mrs. Pans. Just a whole bunch of fun riffs on that. Whole bunch of great stuff. And I also want to write up ways you can make old schoolify 5e. Whole bunch of stuff here. Whole bunch of stuff. Oh. Alrighty. Thank you. It is the Prancing Pony, and I totally like this mug. Alrighty. So with that, just an overview of what I've got from my thoughts on this adventure. I think this is going to be the best written adventure module ever of all time in all of human existence. I'm totally not biased, and I'm totally not conceited. This is going to be the best thing ever. So, I think I need to get to work on writing down some things. I've already got a general synopsis on what the ideas are going to be presented in this adventure. I just need to write them down. So, as mentioned before, one of the big things is I definitely want there to be enough lore and fluff on the town so that, your players feel like this is a lived-in place, and it's going to be a fun time. Oh, damn, dude, the best ever. Alrighty. Yeah, gosh darn it. I wish there was a way I could I wish there was a way I could have like a copy of this. I guess I could make a copy of this Word document, but I, I don't need to. Oh, so it's so annoying. So yeah, I need to not just past, present, including any future adventures. Oh yeah, for all of human time and human existence, absolutely. This will go down in the annals of like this will be you'll be reading about this in history books for sure. For sharks. Alrighty. Yeah, let's kick things off here. So, people of the town. Herein you will find detail on how should I write this? How should I go about writing this? People of the town. Little town, it's a quiet village. Every day, like the day before. Hmm. Could you just start with the people of this town are quiet in most days like the day before? My intended idea on how the narratively the campaign starts is your adventuring group is in town, but not this day. The idea is you're in town, whether that be you are residents of this town or you have stopped by in this town, and then all of a sudden a woman comes stumbling back to town, and she says, "Hey guys, you're not going to believe this, but there's a castle." And I don't know how no one knows about this castle, considering it's right there. But there's a castle right there, and then she goes on to regale. Oh yeah, I went there and things were really weird. I barely made it out. Who wants to check it out? And then you go through the adventure, and and then eventually plug away at the process of figuring this place out. Details on the major denizens of the town. Is there a way on Microsoft Word to have the numbers here, but not have it lose space on writing? Because whenever you go to a number something, it shifts over a bit and you lose some writing space. Let me see if there is a way to do that. I feel like that's got to be something. Divine set numbering value. Remove. Maybe I'll just go 1 and then go there. Balik. Okay, Balik is a magic user and he runs an antique shop. Got it. Pasting just got easier. Use Control-Shift-V to post text without formatting. It's been there for a while. What do you mean? I've been doing that for ages. Hmm. Gosh darn it. Having only one freaking monitor and having to scroll through 50 things. Quick, follow me into this dangerous castle. I swear I won't betray you. Well, I think it's more so going to be the stand-in for Belle of this adventure. She's going to say like, hey, like I went over there and that sucked. I'm not going to go there, but if someone wants to go there, by all means. Also, something very important is I definitely want to have a stand-in for Belle, and I want to have a stand-in for good old-fashioned Gaston. But the gimmick here is that Gaston's going to be a muscle wizard. I don't know what the gimmick is going to be with the stand-in for Belle. I'll have to think about that. Maybe she'll be one of the prominent people in this town. Bleak. Okay. Bleak, the magic user. Maybe a bookish idiot. Yeah. Maybe it'll be just as simple as that of of she really likes to read. Oh, you know what? That's actually a great way to go about it. Is the reason why she stumbled across this castle? I mean, this works perfectly, Conrad. The reason why she stumbled across the castle is because she had her nose in a book while she was walking, and she drifted off from the main road, and then all of a sudden she accidentally stumbled into the castle grounds. That's actually perfect. Okay, that's perfect. So Bleak, you first off, you deserve a add into the dictionary here. Alrighty, Bleak is. Well, I've already got a little something written down by Bleak. This cozy and dimly lit store holds a collection of old, ancient, and unique items. Bleak, the magic user, owner, collects and trades unique items, is interested in items found in the castle. He employs 3 muscle-bound villagers to help move inventory and keep watch over the shop. Bleak will take on apprentices if a magical item is brought to him. Bleak can identify antiques for 100 gold pieces. There are 1d3 random items in the shop at any given time. Okay. Haha, glad to be of service. Thank you. Alrighty, so I'm imagining Bleak as this old person that is very much so receptive of anything new that's old. he wants new old things brought to him. A wizened mage. Bleak yearns for new old items. I don't know how far I'm going to go in regards of like I might go down the route of like having traits, bonds, and flaws. I might go down that route for every NPC in the town, just to give a quick like, oh yeah, that person's definitely, like when you go to roleplay them, these are what they have in mind. I might have to go down that route. He is earnest. That is not how you spell earnest. Me. Goodness gracious. How do you spell earnest? The importance of being earnest. He is earnest, honest, and is willing to help any who are helpful to him. He is earnest, honest, and is willing to help any who is helpful to him. Who is helpful to him? There's no way. who is helpful to him? That doesn't sound right at all. Like, if someone said out loud, he is earnest, honest, and is willing to help any who is helpful to him. I guess that makes sense. Gosh darn it. I hate the English language so much. So I find myself having to write down what type of voice I give an NPC. Yeah, so I'm actually, I'm thinking to my more favorite adventure module writers. They typically have very when it comes to NPCs, it'll have a like 2 or 3 personality types and traits and appearances, and that's the end of the story. So I don't know if I want to expound upon I'm actually gonna write this down here. After I boldify that. Traits, bonds, flaw. Believe it or not, anyone is singular, not plural. Oh my god. I hate the English language so much. Oh my gosh. Alrighty, traits, bonds, flaws. Also, did I add a spacebar to the traits there? I did. Bonjour. Yeah, I'm gonna do some Q&A testing in regards of what people would appreciate more in regards of would they rather have traits, bonds, flaws, or would they just rather have just personality type. Let me see here. I'm trying to figure out what my favorite author does here. But he has any, not anyone, I believe. I do. And he is willing to help any who is helpful to him. You can make Balik be an old seigneur who escaped the guillotine. That would explain him being a small town despite being a wise intellectual. Yeah, that's actually not bad at all. Good point. Anyone who is helpful to him or any who are helpful to him. Yeah. And is willing to help any who are helpful to him. Gosh darn, I hate the English language so much. Motivation is a good one for me. Yeah, so I'm gonna write down several examples of what the final product is gonna be in regards of, is it gonna be just few quick words, or is it gonna be traits, bonds, flaws, and motivation? I'm gonna have to figure that one out. I'll write out several of them for the NPCs and then figure out, okay, what strikes me more. If I look at one, do I get more of what this character, how to roleplay this character, and all that fun jazz. And by the way, Ash, how is it going? How is it hanging? Also, how do you do, Failnost? Fallinost? How's it going in the hood? And just writing down here some NPCs in regards of this fun adventure that I'm writing. Also, is Seigneur, is that hi, glad you're back. I'm glad to be back, Ash. How is is I'm assuming Seigneur is French. Parlez-vous français? I'm going to. I actually don't know the full list of like French nobility titles. I should look that up though. That I'm going to be incorporating that into the castle, but I didn't think to incorporate that in the town. But it's actually a good idea. Good. Just had cake. Heck yeah. French noble titles. Let's go. Duke, Marquis, Comte, Vicomte, and Baron. Okay, those are generic ones. Yes, indeed. Noblesse des robes. Noblesse des chanceliers. Noblesse des clochers. Baron, Marquis is dope. Oh man, I missed the stream. You're still here? Hey, I'm still here. You're still here. We're having a good time. Go look at Castle Amber and steal all the titles. That's actually an excellent thing. I've read through Castle Amber. I have not taken it to the table yet. I do plan to do it at some point. But I do need to do that. And also, how's it going, Mr. Welch? How is it hanging? And also, how's it going, AD&D Card Master? I'm just looking through some French things to get me inspired for this French adventure that I'm writing. Noblesse militaire. You'll never guess what militaire is. Ennoblesse par lettre is ennobled through letters patent. Person made noble by letters patent from after the year 1400. Okay. So that's if you're a noblesse par lettre, then you're a filthy new blood. You're not part of the old aristocracy. Finally getting off of work, I know that feeling. Alrighty, proofs of nobility, privileges, duties, history, blah blah. I just want the titles right now. Don't the Three Musketeers have badass French names? I'm sure they do. Castle Amber is also very, very French. It is indeed. The water is made of jello. Huh? List of French peerages. Duke, Count. Duke. Do they have the Count of Monte Cristo around here? Duke of Normandy, Duke of Maine, Duke of Burgundy, Castellan of Châtillon, the Castellan of Joyeux Châtel. Whole bunch of great stuff here. Okay, I will have to sift through all of that in the meantime, but a previous noble who fled from his what would be a French dukedom then? Now I gotta go back and look at all this stuff. New blood, come back to me when your wealth dates back to the Rococo period. So many things to look up now. A Boro means executioners. Is it me or did the stream mute? Did I? Nope, it me. Okay, good enough. I'm gonna, this is just a rough draft here, so I'm just gonna put down a previous noble who fled from his chateau. I don't know if chateau is the right word for it. From his previous noble who fled from his chateau. Moyeko, if you want to go Cajun French. I'm not going Cajun French with this. This is going to be just classic European Just straight up ripping this from Beauty and the Beast, French countryside kind of adventure. This is the first time in a long time I've seen you. How's it going, Zone? How is it hanging? Manoir? Castel? Chateau? Châtelet? Have them mix it up with Roquefort, a Bastille. There's so many fun names, so many fun French names you can just throw in here. But I think just natively like saying, okay, this guy is a mage, previous noble who fled from his place, and then with his traits, flaws, and motivation, I think that can give you just a clear grasp of how do you roleplay this character when you're in town. I think I don't want to, because the thing you got to remember is I'm gonna have like I'm just double checking here, but I'm gonna have like 20 named NPCs off the top of my head. Like looking at all these places, there's going to be like 20 plus named NPCs here. I cannot be writing full-blown paragraphs about these characters. I need to have the information short, sweet, to the point. And over the course of your gameplay running this adventure, then of course, a previous noble whom fled? Previous noble who fled from. Previous noble. Over the course of your adventure, like you're going to make this NPC like interact with your characters the most, but and transform the character in the way you want. But I think having just a quick 2-3 sentences, and having the traits, bonds, flaws, and motivation simple. Like, oh hey, your players are going to meet up, at the antique store. Boom, they meet Balik. How do you play Balik? Well, he's a wizened mage. He likes to help people. He's a noble. Pretty good. I had to leave your Discord server because my account got hacked. Oh gosh, that sucks. Hopefully things turned out good. Did you reset your account or did you make a new account? What'd you do with that? NPC names is my weakness when DMing. It's my kryptonite. I also suffered from the same thing. So what I did, AD&D, was y'all take notes. Wait, y'all take notes here? So what I do personally is now what I do is I write out literally 50 names of NPCs. Just have it stapled right there. And when my players meet a new NPC, then boom, number one on the list, I use that, cross it off, and then move on to the next one. I just use all the names for David Ryder from Mystery Science Theater. Hey, whatever works. Alrighty, so let's figure out some traits, bonds, flaws, and motivation for this Balik guy, and then move on to all the other ridiculous amount of 20 NPCs. I'm stealing that idea. Yeah, it's worked for me because AD&D, I was literally just like you, where I'd be running a game. My players meet this no-named NPC, and they say, "Hey, what's your name?" And then I go, "Oh my god, no!" And just go, "Oh my god, it's so annoying." And so eventually, I just straight up did 50 names, boom, and use one, erase, move on to the next one. Ended up resetting everything and had to do super complicated password from a password generator. That's the only thing that worked. Yeah, fair. Fair. No more 1, 2, 3, 4s. No more ABCs. No more birthdays or anything like that. Just put your faith in Blast Hard Cheese. Blast Hard Cheese. If I met a guy and he's like, "All right, let's go, guys. We're gonna roll out. Put your faith in Blast Hard Cheese." I'm gonna be like, "All right, I'm going back to town." Hey, earlier mentioned making public games. How does that work? So Ryan, my plan is as follows. I'm going to be running West Marches games out of my Discord. The idea there is I'm going to be running these West Marches games where I DM and you show up with your character. Whoever shows up for that session goes off on their merry adventure and then, gets their gold and glory and whatever else. By the end of the session, they return back to civilization. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. That's that. And it's going to be free to play. It's going to be free for anyone who joins up. Simple as that. I am probably going to be recording the games and putting them on a channel. I wouldn't be putting them on my main channel. I'd be making a new channel, like a No Fun Allowed D&D games channel. And simple as that. The thing is, though, is I basically am figuring out what I'm going to encapsulate in my world. And my world is going to be filled with hex crawling elements, a whole bunch of mini dungeons, and a whole bunch of mega dungeons. I don't think this one is going to fit in my mega dungeon play. I think that this dungeon in particular, I think is going to... I think this one in particular is going to be more focused on individual groups. So this dungeon, Slay the Beast, is not going to be in there. But I do have another mega dungeon, and that one actually will be part of that encapsulated gameplay. I'm signing up right now. Heck yeah. I don't know the full details of that. Maybe I'll have it within a month. Maybe in a month's time, I'll have everything set up and ready. But there's a whole bunch of things I'm working on right now. I've got videos I'm working on. I've got a whole bunch of writing scripts I'm working on. I'm working on a whole bunch of fun things. But thankfully, it's not going to be too consuming to run these games. I'm just simply going to say, hey, I'm going to run a game at 3 o'clock PST, this day. Who wants to show up? And then whoever shows up, and that's the end of the story. And also, as basically one of the another fun thing I'm incorporating into it is there's also going to be the idea of you join a guild when you create your character. Aren't you afraid like 20-some people are going to show up at once? So Ryan, I will have a cutoff of players for sure. Like I wouldn't allow more than maybe 5 players to a session. So I would definitely have a first come first serve of when I post it. Hey, I'm going to be running games on days X, Y, and Z. Who wants to show up to those games? Cut off on 5 at the most, and then try and get as many people playing as possible. Going back to the guild thing is when you create your character, you join a guild, and there will be different guilds that the groups will be joining. And one of your motivations for going out to adventure is you're trying to earn a meta currency for your guild. And that meta currency will incorporate things of new characters will get extra bonuses, existing characters will get extra bonuses. You'll have access to new spells, new weapons, new features, things of that nature. And it'll be a fun way to be like, who's showing up to the table? Okay, so today we've got 2 people from Guild A, 1 from Guild B, 1 from Guild C, and that'll be fun. Also, very, very importantly is there are hard-coded rules in regards of there is no team fighting at all whatsoever. When it comes to magical items, if the magical item could benefit multiple people, then it will be a GDKP. For those of you who don't know what a GDKP is a gold buy system where if, let's say, for example, 2 fighters go on a mission and they both find a +1 sword, there's no duel to the death. There's no, I saw it first. There's no, I said to the DM, I picked it up first. Instead, it is... hey, right then there, you can use it for that adventure, sure, whatever, maybe you work out a system. But once that mission is over, then you say, okay, it is up for gold auction. Who is going to pay for this thing? And then you can work that out. Of course, whoever's got the most gold is going to presumably get it. That's what I thought. You should run a level 20 ultra hard dungeon. not for the public game, no. Heck no. You mentioned hex crawling. What hex crawl generator will you use? I will use the generator in my mind. I will be creating a area of effect that I desire, and that's the end of story. Simple as that. This sounds so dope. I'm looking forward to it. The code name right now, Dan the Magic Man, is Guilds and Gargoyles. You're not playing Dungeons and Dragons. You're playing Guilds and Gargoyles. Will there be a TPK? So AD&D. So this isn't the first time I've ran a West Marches game. I ran one. I've ran actually two before. The last one I ran was a huge one. The last one I ran had over. Let me pull this up because I've got it on one of my Discords where I ran it. It had over 50 players, and it ran for how many sessions? Let me. I'm trying to find it right now. Frontier. Here we go. It ran for 82 sessions. Over the course of that 82 sessions with those 50 players, with just, mind you, just me as the DM, there was no other DM. I know some West Marches games have multiple DMs. I don't do that. I'm just a single DM. I don't want anyone else mucking up my world. It's my house, my world, my rules. That's the end of the story. So 50 players, 82 sessions. Over the course of those 82 sessions, there were 81 dead PCs. 81. And also, if you actually do recall this, there were several that were petrified. So they technically didn't die, but they were petrified. And there was also one who got a soul ripped out. There was a player who got their soul ripped out. So they're not technically dead, but their character was then rendered worthless. So yeah, in that campaign, there were several TPKs. Many TPKs. I'm trying to remember, actually. I've actually got every single session written out, because what I do is I write down like a synopsis of every single session of the characters that showed up for that session, what they fought, where they went, what they did, who died, and yeah. Let me scan through here. Like let me just find a perfect one where some people died. Scrolling through. Where's a fun one? I'm trying to find a fun one here. Alrighty. The 28th expedition. I'm going to read a synopsis here. Terrence, Wigwul, Kaka, Vin Diesel, Carl, Toko, Akin, and Mervix. How many players is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That was 8 players in this session. Head directly west, exploring uncharted lands and attempting to explore around the stone shrine. As the group moves through uncharted grass plains, they encounter one of the winged horses. Toko discovers that the creature understands Sylvan. Before much can be learned, Terrence tried entertaining the creature, but the creature was not amused and flew away. The party uncovered the surrounding area and moved to the area near the stone shrine. That is when things went horribly wrong. In the early afternoon, the group was ambushed by a group of orcs. They rush in, swinging wild and going hard. The fighting was fierce, with orcs and party dropping one by one. When all was said and done, all that was left standing was 2 orcs and Mervix. He fought to the last, but sadly they were slain. So that was a TPK of 8 players. 8. 8 players died to an orc ambush. 8 characters, I should say. None of the players died. But yeah, that's just one example. Kaka's poop in Spanish. Oh yes, oh yes. But yeah, so I'm gonna be running a West Marches game like that, where once again, people are free to show up. Make your character through me. You join a guild, you get these guild benefits. You work alongside everyone. No, that good GMing. Yeah, one thing I do strongly recommend is writing a synopsis of all of your adventures or all of your sessions afterward. One, because it keeps you, mentally thinking, oh, what happened last time. But also two, when you run a game, you can look back years from now and be like, oh man, I ran that. That was crazy. Like, oh, thinking back to this time of like my players getting ambushed, 8 players getting ambushed by orcs, and it literally came down to the wire. I distinctly remember that encounter. I found it. That was the what would I just say? It was the 27th. Let me take a look here. Did you do? I think it was the 27th. No, it was not. It was the 28th. That was the 28th session out of 82 sessions, and I remember this one distinctly. I remember because they talked with this Pegasus, and then, it was a Pegasus, not a unicorn. They talked to this Pegasus, and then they get ambushed. And when they get ambushed, I remember so distinctly that there was a moment where a Dragonborn, one of the fighters was a Dragonborn. They were either a fighter or a paladin. I can't remember which one exactly. But there was a moment where they had the lineup. They could have hit 3 orcs with their Dragon Breath, but the downside of that was that would have also hit one of the PCs. And I remember distinctly the party was sitting there like contemplating, oh, should we do this? Should we do this? Like, should the Dragonborn use their breath, hit 3 orcs, potentially killing them, but at the cost of hitting one of our homies? And ultimately they decided not to do it. And sadly, because of that, unfortunately, the orcs overwhelmed them. And it literally came down to, like, after 8 PCs are fighting this large group of orcs, it literally came down to 2 orcs and 1 him. And, it was so close. And I just remember all the players in the chat are going, oh my God. Oh, and it's just like going back and forth of good rolls and bad rolls and missing and hitting. And, just like that constant, like, hecticness. Oh my gosh. So, like, in hindsight, they should have hit one of their own friends, because hitting one per PC at the cost of, like, killing 3 orcs, that would have been so worth it. But you just don't think about that at that time. Like, oh, man. So great. So, yeah. I will be running Guilds and Gargoyles in the near future. That'll be fun time all around. I'm going to have to codify. LOL, that sounds epic. It was epic, honestly. In fact, actually, now I'm thinking back to this adventure, I need to... There was an expedition where they fought a dragon. 8 PCs went in, and only 3 people walked out. Let me see if I can find which expedition this was. And when I say expedition, that was this session. What was the session where 8 players fought the dragon and only 3 people walked away? I gotta find it, because it was one of the most epic fights ever. It was such a good fight. Was it in the 20s? Let me see if I can find it. Dragon. Uh, 22nd. Alrighty, the 22nd session. Forvan, Thoric, Vinny, Frankie, Orlando, Toko, Varen, Dopey, and Georgie. That's 9 people. 9 people showed up to this fight. Holy crapola. That was not the day that they fought the dragon. The dragon killed 2 PCs and then they ran away. Okay, so it must be like the next session. Yes, it was. Maybe the 25th. Hard Bull 26. Man, where is that session? Jesus Christ, I can't DM more than 6 peeps. 9, that must have been an epic fight. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Man, I'm trying to remember which session it was. What number was it? There would have been a lot of Fs. Dusty Room. 28th. No. Attacked by ogres. Six. Damn, you're already good. I can't do past 4. Prefer 3. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what. I definitely do not prefer big crowds because it just takes a lot of time. But you know, I definitely prefer small crowds. Vinny. 39. Man, where is that session where they fought that dragon? I feel like let's see. I'm just like now. I'm just like looking through this history of all these fights my players have gone into. I finally found it. It is the 52nd session. Mark, Sapphire, Frankie, Tiki, Gabriel, Desmodold, Freudier, and Vinny. 8 PCs head off to this dragon's lair. The group goes through. So the reason why the group charges forward, and in front of them is a dragon in water, and then on the sides there's troglodytes. So the group is just split up all over this massive cavern, and it's so cool because in this singular fight, because of the terrain and because of the enemies, it created a whole fun, unique scenario of, oh, there's a mini fight over here, there's a mini fight over there, there's a mini fight over there, and like that's just really entertaining. Because more often than not, when you get into a fight, it is an us versus them, standard battle line. But because of the terrain, the dictated, it just created this fun, unique environment. Fighting's intense. Tiki and Vinny were knocked out from magical ice and hail. Gabriel and Desmodold stayed near the entrance and fended off a wave of enemies, but were brought down, with Desmodold killing the caster as he himself went down. Oh, that was really epic. So of the 8 people, 2 of the people were guarding a bridge, and it was an epic fight of these troglodytes charge in against those 2, and it's such a climactic fight because the enemy takes 1 down, they're taking the troglodytes down, and eventually the 2 last troglodytes on the top there, or the last troglodyte goes to fight him, but then they both hit each other because he hits him, and then he does a hellish rebuke, and literally like one wing of the fighting just dies down because they all are dead. Like just like envisioning it in my head, like it's such a cool epic fight. Such great times. Well, I've been DMing for over 30 years. That's a long time DMing. Fair, I've only been DM for 10 years. I'll get better, I'm sure. I love me a bridge fight. Heck yeah. Alrighty, so I've been going down. I've got them nostalgia glasses going. Long story short, that sounds amazing. It was amazing. It was great. So long story short, it's not my first rodeo running West March's game, but now that I've ran that one, I am now going to go into the next one even more prepared. It's going to be far more streamlined in regards of it's not going to be as annoying to hop into. It is going to be far more approachable. And also, very importantly, is there's going to be some hard-coded rules set into place to not get in the way of the game. Basically, long story short is, like, some really quick ones are no team fighting at all whatsoever. No fighting over loot. It's just going to be flat out GDKP. Unless, for example, if 5 people go out on an adventure and there's an item and it goes to one person and no one else cares about it at all whatsoever, then the people could say like, oh yeah, we don't care. Let them have it. But once again, if there's two fighters that want the +1 sword, then there is going to be that GDKP. But other than that, is what it is. So, that's my long-winded spiel over. It'll be Guilds and Gargoyles. Look forward to it soon. I'll be making videos about it. I'll get all the rules and stuff codified about it. It's going to be a lot of like looking through, being like, oh, okay, so here's the precedent of the game. Here's how this is going to work, etc., etc. I've been DMing for 100 years. Humph divided by like 11.5. Something like that. Mind you, I've only been DMing for since maybe like 2018. So like 8 years? No, oh my gosh. Why am I so bad at math? But in the small amount of time, small amount of years that I've been running the game, I have ran hundreds and hundreds and literally thousands of sessions. I've ran a lot of sessions for, once again, hundreds of people. Like just in that one game alone, I ran 82 sessions for 50 people, right? A lot of friggin' things. Alrighty. That's about the same for me. Maybe like 2017. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think COVID DMs rep. There you go. So their motivation is acquisition. Yeah, I think that explains a lot. I've DM'd since 2012, but we pretty much do pretty much damage to do 2 to 3 quests a year. Yeah. But not for hundreds of people, haha, mainly for the same 5. So not a lot. Yeah, yeah, like I said, I have ran a lot. A lot. Like, I do remember distinctly at one point, I was DMing on average once a day for like months. Like, that's a lot. Yeah, I'm the opposite. I like a small, quick games, easy to manage, and record keeping. I got started way back in 1985. Heck yeah. Yeah, I think I like, on the one hand, people that are privileged to have a really great group that they run for years and years, like, that's awesome. But at the same time, I also feel like I'm privileged because I've ran for hundreds of people. And when you run for that many people, you start to pick up on things in regards of what you want to see and what, more importantly, what you don't want to see from players. And so over the course of time, like when you're forming like your more core group versus running like the West Marcher style one-off sessions, when you go to form your core group, you can really pick up on like, oh man, I really want that kind of player, or maybe I want that specific player. You still have your original OD&D books. Woo wee! Those original brown books. Let's go. Back in my day, there was only 3 classes. The fighting man, the magic user, and the cleric. We didn't even have thieves. Acquisition. Oh my! But I just had a stroke writing acquisition. Golly, acquisition of antiques and weird magic. Yeah, I just moved across the country a few months ago, so now I'm trying to run more games for more people. Heck yeah. Don't forget the dwarf and the elf. Back in my day, they were class. My dwarf could my dwarf could pick up on weird construction tricks. But god dang, elves just needing so much to level up. Been subbed for a few years. Thanks for the content, man. Paradox, thank you so very much. Paradox, how's it going? How's it going? You just missed a very long spiel and rant about the next public West Marches game I'm going to be running in the near future here. But suffice to say, I'm looking forward to running for a whole bunch of people. Flaw. What is your flaw, good sir? I'll get back to that. Maybe I don't do bonds. Maybe I just do traits, ideals. Hey, you've no fun. What is your favorite class, favorite race? Human fighter, beyond a shadow of a doubt. So, when you look at the context of D&D, whether this be 5e or even going back to the original old school stuff, right? No matter what edition you're looking at, the context of the D&D world is as follows. You're in a world with magic and monsters. You're in a world where people are throwing fireballs that explode and destroy buildings and can kill dozens of people. You're looking at dragons that are larger than life. You're looking at all these various weird magic, crazy, wacky shenanigans. And there you can show that amongst all the magic that bends reality and all the monsters that are larger than life, you can just have a dude with a sword and they can kick ass. And I think that is just so awesome, right? Because to your left you got the wizard throwing the fireball, to your right you got a cleric summoning their a spiritual ancestor or their god, but then you just got a dude with a stick and they can beat the face down of that 10-eyed monster, of that multi-headed hydra, of the whatever, right? I just think that there's just something so awesome and flavorful about not being magical and yet still being able to maintain. So, beyond a shadow of a doubt, favorite class race, human fighter. Easy peasy. It's going well. Just woke up from a nap and ready to write some stuff for my future games. Heck yeah. Well, that was quick. I do love the grit of the fighter too. Yeah. I would help with traits and ideals junk, but I have no idea what we're doing. Just showed up in the middle of the stream. So quick context for what I'm writing here is this is an adventure that I'm writing. Slay the Beast. Quick little synopsis here is this is basically a riff on Beauty and the Beast, where you are one of the villagers and you're an adventurer and you're going to that castle to ransack the place. This is a mega dungeon adventure where you reside in town, then you adventure out to that castle dungeon, you ransack the place. Once you're ransacked out, whether you run out of HP or you run out of storage space for all that gold you acquired, you go back to town and you repeat process. And one of the major ideas for this is you can't just have a boring blank town to go back to because that's boring. You need to have a town that's flavorful, full of fun characters, and I'm writing up all those characters right now. Although I'm going to be stopping soon because I've been sidetracked left, right, and sideways, but I did actually get some good thoughts and ideas about not only this adventure, this stream, but I've also talked about my public game that I'm going to be running in the future. So I've got a lot of good things going on with that. Let's go with their trait here. cool beans. It is cool beans. You know, I'm gonna actually look at the suite. Sounds like you get to play as Gaston in this adventure. So there will be a insert of Gaston in this in the town, and they are a muscle wizard. Character idea: if you want a pastry chef who's magic in the kitchen, there is not only a mini boss of a chef in the castle, but there's also a baker in town. Sounds like a cool adventure idea. I'm certainly looking forward to fleshing it out a bit more and running it and writing and publishing it. What about this flaw? You already have. Well, about his flaw, you already have that with the backstory. He's a coward. He'll always risk the skins of others before him. Absolutely. But I'm gonna grab that 5e handbook for a quick second because there's always a gold mine of ideas. Oh, this adventure sounds fire. Excellent. Heck yeah. Alrighty. The ideals and flaws and stuff, that's all in the backgrounds here. So, like, if you're a guild artisan, a trait you can have is, I'm a snob who looks down on those who can't appreciate fine art. What a great trait that is. Coward is cool, or like if you want to do a play on Beating the Beast guy, I'm assuming this guy is kind of like the Belle eccentric dad. Maybe you could have him be a little too straight-laced. No, there's an inventor in town that's going to be the Belle's father, but that's definitely a thing. I'm going to go there. Cowardly. That's an amazing trait, the adventuring snob. That is, honestly. Let's go with... the traits are... I like my work, but I have others do any. I like my work, but I have others do significant work. Boom. Wasn't there a bookshop owner in Beauty and the Beast town? There was. Yeah, so a quick little recap here of all the areas in the town of Bellefleur. Because there's a plant motif going on both in this town and in the castle. We have an antiques, apothecary, a bakery, a bank, a barber, a blacksmith, a bookstore, butcher, candle maker, clothier, etiquette school, farmhouse, fishery, Fletcher, fountain, guardhouse, guildhouse, herbalist, home appliance, hunter's lodge, inn, inventor, and the inventor is going to be the Belle mom or Belle dad, jeweler, market, mayor's house, mirror maker, occult shop, pond, rifle house, schoolhouse, stable, tavern, trader, wig shop. Whole bunch of stuff. Whole bunch. Sorry, bro, got to split. Need to get back to work. I'll catch the rest of the stream when I get back home. Well, you're not missing much. I'm probably going to be ending in a couple of minutes here. Bye, chat. Bye, everyone. No problem. No problem. See ya. See ya. Alrighty. People down. Alright. Alrighty. What level is this adventure for? My idea, Paradox, is that this is well, one, I'm gonna write it generically at first, and then I'm gonna delve into system-wise. So I'm gonna have an OSR version, and I'm gonna have a 5e version. The 5e version, I'm gonna say, is probably going to be levels 1 through 10. Or maybe 1 through 8, maybe? Somewhere around there. That's probably the idea. And then in regards of OSR style, I think for OSR style systems, it's probably going to be something along the lines of maybe the same, maybe levels 1 through 9-ish. But basically my idea is I'm writing this up generically. I'm going to fill in all the bits that need filling. And then, like, once I get to the system-wise, whether it be 5e or OSR, that's when I'll start diving into the stuff. Because I don't know if you've ever compared a 5e thing to an OSR thing, but 5e just natively takes up so much more space because monster stat blocks are ridiculously huge because you typically have to write more in regards of like, oh, this requires this kind of check or this kind of save or da-da-da, this and that. Versus OSR, you don't need to write out those things nearly as much. So 5e is just natively more text heavy, unfortunately. All right, guess I'll go to sleep then. I've overstayed my welcome. It's already 1:50 in the a.m. here. Hey, go to sleep. Good night. You're not going to be missing too much left from this chat here. Au revoir, mes amis. And yeah, for those of you that don't know, it's definitely gonna have the French motif thing here because this is it's Beauty and the Beast. Gotta go with the French motif. Is the Muscle Whisperer Gaston going to be the big bad? No. No, the Beast is going to be the big bad. The Gaston character is actually going to be a helpful wizard in town, which you can enlist to get some new spells and maybe some, like, maybe that could be your reason why you're leveling up is because you're tutoring under him. The adventure sounds like it'll be a good bit of fun. Will you be streaming the session when it's ready? Yeah, for sure. In addition to that, Paradox, if you weren't here for that whole little spiel, I will be running a public West Marches game. The West Marches game is not going to be incorporating this Mega Dungeon Adventure, but it'll be incorporating another Mega Dungeon Adventure I'm currently in the process of writing. So I'm looking forward to that. And that West Marches game will be a public game, free for everyone to join. The current code name for that adventure is called Guilds and Gargoyles. I always like Gaston to agree, but I always gravitate towards the more villainous type of characters. Like, it's sad when you look at it because, like, you can make the argument that Gaston genuinely believes that he is doing the right thing because, from his perspective, there's this monster that kidnapped, the girl that he likes, and all of a sudden now she likes him. What's going on with that? I think you could easily make the quick jump of like, oh, there's something not right here. Maybe she's enchanted. Maybe something not right. I don't blame Gaston for being the antagonist villain that he is. I think he's a perfectly believable character. Helldivers Beauty and the Beast edition. Okay, that's sick. Maybe there's more. Maybe there could be like an evil town character that tries to be on the Beast side. Oh, for sure. Like the Frollo type dude from the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Yeah, Frollo. Well, Frollo is definitely villainous, but the Judge Claude Frollo is definitely like the most human villain that Disney's ever put out because he is a person that's in a position of power, and he, is wielding his power in a degree that's believable because the church has historically done some pretty terrible things. So, it just makes so much sense. And oh man, Judge Claude Frollo is a great character. Gaston's a great character. Disney puts out some banger villains, for sure. I find heroes to be a little boring. Villains are generally more fleshed out, for sure. But maybe I just love Frollo as a villain. Oh, Frollo's great. Duty terrified me as a kid. I mean, She Will Be Mine or She Will Burn. That's a banger of a song, but two, is very much so hinting at the thing of like, in his mind, he genuinely believes he's doing the right thing. Of like, if he can have her, then maybe he can like, make her, holy, or he can like make her, part of the church. But if she's unwilling, then if she can't be with me, then of course burning her to death is the right way to go. Obviously, Oh man. Alrighty, I need to write down this one last ideal, and then I'll wrap it up with answering some questions from all y'all if you have any questions of that nature. So for Bleak, we've got a wizened mage. Bleak yearns for new old items. He is earnest, honest, and willing to help any who is helpful to him. A previous noble who fled from a chateau. His traits include, I like my work, but I have others do any insignificant work. His flaw is he's cowardly. Motivation, acquisition of antiques and weird magics. His ideals shall be... I think his ideal is probably going to be something along the lines of satisfaction. In satisfaction through acquisition. So his ideal is like you should be happy with the things that you've earned or gotten. Alrighty. So with that, I did almost no writing today at all whatsoever, but it got my brain juices flowing. I know exactly the direction I'm heading, and when I go to write some more, I'm going to be having a grand old time with that. Bleak is just one of many characters, though. There's going to be at least one named NPC per one of these locations that I've listed before, and I believe, off the top of my head, I had like 20 locations. I'll have to double check here, but there is a lot going on with this adventure, and I need to flesh out the town to have a fun place for players to explore when they're not too busy fighting and dying in the castle. And having named NPCs that the players will learn to love and hate is going to be a great way to do that. Alright, so with that, I'm gonna say I'm gonna wrap up this stream in 3 minutes. So if anyone's got any burning questions, comments, concerns, gripes, moans, complaints, or just general comments, feel free to fling them out. LOL, I extended my workday by like an hour because I was too focused on goofing off here. Hey, listen, goofing off is healthy. Sounds like a ton of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I think of all the dungeons I've written up, I think this will be one of my more entertaining ones. I think a riff on Beauty and the Beast is going to be a splendiferous endeavor. I think having a town truly level up as the players acquire more gold and, reflecting that players are enhancing the economy here is going to be a great way to go about it. And I also want black powder weapons to be a big thing in this because we're going for a French, medieval feeling, and I think black powder weapons really fit the feel. And also, for those of you that don't know, I also have this fun henchman quirk system where whenever you hire a henchman, you roll up and see if they've got any fun quirks. I currently have 100 of these. So I got some fun ones here, like you hire a henchman. Guess what? They have they never wear shoes. Like, dude, what's up? Why don't you wear shoes? They have a fear of dogs. They hate spicy food. They have a fear of fire. They talk to plants, like, you know. Once I turn in my submission for the Insectoid Jam, could I send you a DM on Disco about what I submitted? Would love any feedback. For sure, for sure. For sure, for sure. Alrighty. 60 seconds on that clock. Get those comments in. The clock's ticking. Any second now. Also, I need to write up more ideas on. Well, I'm gonna be. I've already got like a idea of like. Not an idea. I've already gotten some things written up about how to old schoolify 5e for those that want it for this type of adventure. Who doesn't love playing the proletariat? I am so out of it right now. Versus the bourgeois. The bourgeoisie. It'll absolutely be the rich storming the poor storming the rich person's castle for sure. Alrighty, 15 seconds. Speak now or forever hold thine peace until the next stream, which I think I'll be able to stream. Not this weekend at all because I think I'm busy, but I think midway next week I think I'll be free. I think. Alrighty. Well, that is gonna do it for me. Also, what the heck? Oh, that's right. I have that text right there. I'm looking at OBS. I'm like, what the heck is going on with my... I've got like a scene I don't know. Alrighty, so with that is gonna do it for me. Comedy Frog here. So, thank you all so very much for watching. Thank you for liking, for commenting, for lurking, for watching my video today, for submitting a thing on that poll on the YouTubes. Literally any interaction at all whatsoever you do with my channel goes a long way. I know it doesn't sound like it would do much, but it literally does, right? Literally anything you do, just being here, commenting, liking, subscribing, doing all those things really helps out. So thank you so very much for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you to the awesome patrons, for the subscribers, for the people joining my Discord. Once again, I will be posting a bit more about that Guilds and Gargoyles West Marches thing coming up in the near future. Look forward to that. Look forward to new videos. Look forward to streams. Look forward to all that fun jazz. But that's going to do it for me. And I cannot wait to see you all in the next one.